there, my name is Daisy Malone, and if you're here, chances are you're here due to the posters I posted around the school about my U.A.P seminar. Chances are you already know me. I'm a senior at HTLA, and you can contact me through my website, the uapresearchproject@gmail.com, or at daisymalone@htla.org. I'm really thankful for you all coming here. It's really going to be beneficial for my project, as you'll see in a bit. So for a general overview of this, I'm going to be defining what a U.A.P is and its significance. Then we're going to be playing a little game, and then I got some questions for you. I have some asks, and then advice. Ignore how that's spelled. This is a basic run through. I will edit it later. But some advice about how to identify U.A.Ps and what to do if you ever spot one. So first up, what is a U.A.P? A U.A.P is an unidentified aerial phenomena, otherwise known as a UFO. It's a government term, meaning that it's taken seriously by the U.S. And the reason why you should take this seriously is for two reasons. First of all, because in America, more and more, we've always had histories of UFOs, but as of late, it's become a real national security threat. We want to know what's in our skies, and if we as citizens are unable to identify correctly what's in the sky, whether it's an enemy spy plane or if it's just a balloon, we gotta know what's in it, for our own sake. But also, we gotta know for scientific reasons. There's no such thing as bad science, and there's no issue of asking what's in our skies. There's many fields that are typically considered taboo because of this correlation to aliens. But, UFOs aren't necessarily related to aliens. They just mean unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena. So we should actually take the time into delving into what this is all about. We wouldn't ignore something, in marine biology because it's a bit weird. Why should we ignore this? So the U.S., due to the DNI government files, or the official district, the government has officially, with this link here, you can click on it if you want to ask me about it later, has officially designed 5 categories on how to identify UAPs. So the first one is airborne clutter, which is essentially radar. You won't really see it in person. I will describe all these later and how to identify them, so don't worry, I'm just going over the basics.
Students, Maddie, please come to the main office.
Hi, Maddie.
Please come to the main office.
So, then there's natural atmospheric phenomena, which is things like weather events, stars, planets, just basically natural occurring things, so like, clouds. Then there's USD, or U.S. Industry Development Programs, so things like airplanes, drones, basically anything that would function in the U.S. to either help its economy or to help its military. And the same thing goes for foreign adversary systems. But this can also include things like missiles, or drones, or spy crafts, which I'll get into later. And then finally, there's this big other category, which is basically anything else. This is where the government sort of shrugged its shoulders and said, I don't know. It can mean, animals. It can mean sort of, just genuinely unknown objects, which is where a lot of people like to say aliens, which I'm not going to deny if there is or isn't aliens. We need more research, and that's why I'm, sort of pushing the seminar onto people. But let's go further into how to identify each one of these things. So, as stated before, airborne clutter is radar only. So unless you are carrying a radar on you, the chances are if you see something in the sky, it's not going to be airborne clutter. Then there's natural atmospheric phenomena. So if you notice things like clouds, lightnings, or stars, if there's not a sound to it, typically you can look up on a website, whether it's like a star mapping website or the Weather Channel, and see whether or not these strange objects in the sky actually fit what you're seeing. If it's in a certain location in the sky, and it's stationary, then chances are it's probably a planet. Or, if it's a certain strange fluffy color, then chances are it's probably a cloud. But you can look it up. And then there's the USG or U.S. Industry Development Program, which is like things like planes or missiles. These things typically have plumes behind them, so like thin clouds, and they typically make noise. They're almost all mechanical. They also have a noticeable method of propulsion, being like a jet engine in the back, or like blades at the top. Oh god. And typically, you know, you can look at it and go, okay, that's a plane. That's an obvious mechanical object. Same thing goes with foreign adversary systems, except it'd be sort of hard to tell if something's a U.S. industry or a foreign adversary system, because unless it has U.S. plastered on it, you know, there's no real telling from a distance. However, if something is suspicious, you know, if you think, oh, this is a no-fly zone, you should report it to the local authorities. You know, that could be a genuine foreign, you know, like spy balloon floating up above overhead. And, you know, if you report it, and, you know, you take the time to actually investigate and see, oh, okay, it can't be a cloud, it can't be this, it can't be that, then, you know, you should actually say something, because it could be your national security at stake. Then finally, there's other, which is sort of hard to describe, since it's like, well, what is other? Does it have wings? Then it's probably an animal. Does it not make a noise? Like, if you can't define it, then it is just okay to keep it as other. If the US government is fine with having uncertainty, so can you. Science is filled with uncertainty, you know? And it's okay to just say, we don't know yet, but you should take the time to put in research. Which leads me to game time! Okay, thank you, Enrique. So, this game, I'm basically going to give you a bit of context for a strange little thing, and you're going to tell me whether it's a natural occurring event, whether it's a truly unknown thing, or if it's like a man-made object. So, this here has a plume, and it is above a pretty big town, and while it wasn't reported making any real roaring noise, it definitely was seen by many people. Now, do we think that this is...
It's man-made.
It is man-made. It is a SpaceX missile rocket that is flying overhead. And you can tell that because not only was it reported in the news, which is very important. If you want to identify U.A.P, this can take multiple days. You know, you want to check the news, you want to check reports and things like that. You don't want to just keep it to yourself.
So I saw one of those one time, I thought that the world was going.
Yeah. That's the thing. UAPs can be scary, but if you take the time to identify and look at records, and you know, if you notice things like a plume or it's made out of metal, then typically you can say, okay, this is man-made. Doesn't mean that it's any less scary, but you can tell that it's, you know, not maybe an alien, and therefore not unidentified. Or, you know, it can be unidentified, but, you know. So this was seen flying over America. It was silent, but it seemed to sort of float. You know, it sort of would go up into the air, and it didn't seem to jump around anywhere. It was about this big. How?
Man-made.
Man-made, yes. It was the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down recently. And you can tell that it's a balloon due to the way that it floats. It's sort of, if it doesn't jump around and seems to go with the wind, then typically it's a balloon. Now, this is a blinking little thing. It was seen around a public city. Do any of you want to take a guess?
That's man-made. An airplane.
It's not an airplane, it is a drone. But it was made as a hoax in order to, you know, get people to watch this film. But the thing is that you can tell due to the way that it's lit up and due to the way that it would have flown. Oh, I forgot to mention, but it made a sort of whirring noise, like a whir, whir, whir. And that shows that it has an engine to it, which means that it is likely man-made. Now, what do you think this big fella is?
A natural phenomenon. Not nature phenomenon.
Yeah, it's a cloud. And you can tell because of the clouds in the background. You know, it doesn't look to be made out of metal. The clouds are the same sort of pinkish color, meaning that it's probably made of the same material. Now, of course, if it was like a bright, vivid green or, you know, going all crazy shapes rapidly, or made out of metal, then yeah, that would cause some suspicion. But since you can sort of logically say, okay, there's clouds in here, it's sort of a cloud shape, it's probably a cloud. So this was seen silently floating on a head. It wasn't made of metal. And it was seen over a lake during a somewhat popular time. Do any of you want to take a guess? Oh, and it floated. None of you? It is a Chinese air balloon. Or not air balloon, Chinese lantern, sorry. Which are very similar to balloons in that they require heat to raise them. It's sort of hard to show you without videos, but it's sort of hard to find videos of these in general. I'm doing the best that I can. But they sort of just float along. And typically if there's like sort of a party around, you know, in a local area, a big festival, typically you can see these things. So if you look up...
Are those like the ones with like the bags and they put the candles?
Yeah, but from a distance, it can just look like a little yellow orb. Yeah, but to where basically if you see something but you look up a festival happening nearby and you see like lantern releases, since a lot of people like to post about this, lanterns can go a long way. They can go miles from where they were originally released, so it might be just a lantern. So there are many lights in a popular area that made lots of noise.
I want to say it's a man-made drone.
Yes, it is a they are mini drones, and it's for a flight show or a drone show. You can tell typically because there's many different drones and due to the noises that they make. So if you see a lot of UAPs, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily an alien invasion. It just means that there's a lot of strange objects. And typically also like with Chinese lanterns, there's typically reports of like, we're having a drone show tonight. So you can look it up and sort of say, okay, they had it in this city where I was looking at, and therefore it is probably just that show. So this is seen from a night sky. It's very high up, and there is a plume.
That's man-made.
Yes, it is man-made. It is just a commercial airplane.
What is it?
It's from the side. Here's the little front lights. Yeah. And here's the little trail. Pretty straightforward. What are these two things right here? They are stationary. Natural phenomena, yes, they're just planets. You could look up a star-looking guide or, you know, an astral body guide, and, you know, you can find where Jupiter or Mercury is in the current sky. So, typically if something is stationary or a bit twinkly, it's either a planet or a star. Now this one, you've probably seen this image. For context, pretend like this is an object that is going faster than any plane that you've ever seen, any jet over an ocean.
Ain't no way that man made. Ain't no way.
Yeah, it is officially known as unknown by the U.S. government. Nobody knows what this thing was. It was seen. It was chased by U.S. Airplanes or jets or whatever their aircraft was at their top limit, and it could barely catch up with it. Barely, or not even. I think it eventually lost it. But just because we have this urge to sort of identify things. But just know that we don't need to identify anything, or rather, we may not have all the capabilities to identify anything. So I put this here to sort of remind you all that some things are just simply unknown for right now. That's why we need to push science further into identifying what it is.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's lightning. That's pretty much it. But, so, with the game done, I will give you your jelly beans. You will be paid. But I was sort of wondering, so do you feel like this seminar sort of helped you sort of get a better concept of UAPs, how to identify them? Do you think I could have added anything?
I think I'm satisfied right now.
Okay.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Although you already mentioned it's like some of the minor spelling mistakes. I think you should probably also say, not just say like, why should I care? Probably say, why should you care? So
Yeah.
Present this to your basic audience.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. But I meant more so, the material of the seminar, not like the seminar itself, like what I've taught you. Do you think that helped you, or do you think?
Yeah, overall it actually did pretty help a lot.
And have any of you guys seen a UAP? Have any of you seen some strange thingamabobber? No?
I think I did once, maybe.
Okay. Well, do you think that you could possibly use any of the 5 categories to help you identify the thing that you saw?
Huh?
Do you think that if you saw that UAP again, or do you think if you saw a UAP in the future that you could correctly identify, or better identify?
Yeah, I probably would have, yes.
I mean, to me, like, I was trying to figure it out intuitively. You know what I mean? So, like, I didn't know, but, like, I basically had those categories in my mind. But to me, when I saw that one, it looked just like that. But I was in, like, the first photo, like, with the, I was in a small town in Northern California called, well, I was driving to Nevada City. There's a lot of hippies out there. But like, I was scared. Like, I legitimately was like, what the hell is happening right now? And like, cause there's not like, I didn't know if there was any military bases or anything like that. It's scary to see something like that.
Yeah.
It turns out it was just like a normal thing, but like.
Yeah, that's why we need to sort of uncover, talk more about UAPs. We gotta say, okay, this is a normal occurrence. Normal people every day see these things. And that there's no shame in sort of asking, what is that? And, we should actually take the time, instead of ridiculing people, to sort of say, okay, is that a drone? Is that a star? Is it this? And we should take more time, if we can't answer it, maybe to look more into, okay, well, could it be some sort of ET? Although it sounds ridiculous, why should we? We should at least mark it off the list, or, cross it off the list. But yeah, that's why I'm sort of out here, to remove the fear out of UAPs, But, this is sort of what I said earlier. UAPs are important because, not only do they pose a really important scientific question of what the hell is in our skies, and are we alone even, because if you take it to its furthest extent, is there aliens? But also it does create a national security threat. People don't like not knowing what's in their skies, so we should at least take the time to educate people about how to identify certain things, to stop fear. Fear and mass hysteria is what caused the 5 deaths of the Battle of Los Angeles. So we should avoid that at all costs. We should take the time to actually try educating people. So what my project is trying to do is to create this free step thing called IRP, which is identify by using the 5 categories in your local surroundings. You should try crossing off, or at least getting a general idea of what your UAP sighting is. Then you should record it, either by taking any photos if you can, or looking at any records of other people that saw it, looking at news reports. Maybe even writing your own report, even if there's no photos, if you state, like, no, I saw something here, it can really help somebody else say, like, who saw it in that similar area, sort of go and say, oh, no, it would have been that, because there are similarities, or, oh, no, there is differences. And then finally, in order to get people to actually see what you said, publish it. Write it out, put it to, the website that I'm making, or, just go to, although it might sound insane, Mensa. Not Mensa, what is that? No, not NASA, it's, God, I'm blanking. It's the UAP, like, research, it's basically where you can get a collection of UAP sightings, because it's not just aliens, it's, I think I saw this weird plane go down, or, it's just basically getting the info out there so you can sort of all collectively go, okay, we can have all this data, let's look into it,
Are you guys documenting sightings right now?
Basically, just try getting the stigma out there, sort of by saying, I saw something, it can help further research, make people less scared to talk about it.
I'm telling you, I was scared when I saw that, and I forget how, I don't know, because it was a long time ago, but I think I went on Twitter or something like that, like, kind of just figured it out. But it's scary.
Yeah. It's investigation, basically, just try to investigate, don't just leave it where it is,
What about, like, so those recent Chinese spy balloons? After the first one happened, people were saying Biden is weak. I would have shot it down as soon as it came over Alaska. So then he felt like he was insecure and he had to kind of prove his toughness. So then we shot down 3 other things. And like they were probably like just random balloons.
Yeah, if we took the time to actually identify them instead of panicking, you know, if we took my free steps, you know, if we actually took the time to understand them, you know, maybe we would have avoided some conflict and, you know, not made national news and, you know, been ridiculed.
How crazy would it be though if with one of those 3 that he shot down after the fact
Was
if like shrapnel came and hits the city or something like that and killed a bunch of people?
Yeah, that's always a thing. That's why we have to sort of look at it and go like, okay, is it this? Is it metallic? Obviously. Hello, I'm talking about but yeah, you know, it's just sort of general. It is concerning. That's why we should be able to sort of talk about and you know, learn more about these categories so that for the safety of people in general, you know, not just yourself, but for LA or out America or the world even, you know? But with that, thank you. You will get your jelly beans. Thank you.